Welcome to Phone Contacts application Add, Edit, Delete Contacts functionality. So we use a bootstrap model to add new contact. Once the user clicks the add button, the model fades in and the save button is enabled when the data passes client-side validation. So on clicking the save, the data is persisted in the contacts table. Edit uses the same model as add and uses the contact ID to update the contact. Delete sends the request to delete the contact. The files involved here are landing.html as all the functionalities on that page. Landing controller calls our root service.js, the auth interceptor to assign the requests with the JWT token. On the server side, we have the JWT interceptor as we just saw in our last lecture. It makes sure that we are getting only valid requests for the data UI. Phone CRUD controller has our operations which it performs using the contact service implementation and contact repository.java. Let's have a look at the code. On our landing page, we have our add new phone number. So once we start adding new phone number and contacts, we get other functionalities. Let's click and add a new number. Let's give a name. This is a field which is compulsory, so validation works if you are not giving it. So let's make it Mick. Here we can give a michael@gmail.com and let's give a phone number and we'll click on save. As soon as we clicked on save, we are being brought back to our login page. Let's see what was the issue. So looks like our JWT token has expired and we need to log in again. With our username and password entered, let's click on submit and we are in again. Let's now click on add new phone number. Let's give him the names of mikhail@gmail.com and let's give him a number. And we have our first contact here. Let's see the contacts table in our database, and we have michael@gmail with our username ID. Once you click on edit, we get the same model. Let's change this to 555 and save. We are seeing as 555, and in the database let's run the select query again and we have our 555 updated. If we delete, it's gone from here. Let's check on the database side and it's gone from here too. If you click log out, you will be logged out. So that's how our functionality works. On the client side, landing.html is our UI and you can add a phone number. Once you have the validations done, we have the usual validations here. Once the validations are done and you click on save contact, we go to save contact method of the landing controller. Let's have a look at the save contact method in the landing controller. So save contact takes our contact information and encapsulates into a data object. The data object is sent to the server using the CRUD services add contact method. We assign added as true on a successful addition so that you get a nice message in the front UI. Similarly, the deleted calls the delete contact. Let's have a look at the CRUD service. CRUD service uses our HTTP, state, and the queue service. Let's have a look at the add contacts. Add contact gives us a deferred object, calls save contact on the server with our contact. A successful operation resolves the deferred with the data returned from the server. Similarly, delete calls delete contact with a contact. As you can see, we have data in our URI, so we use our auth interceptor to assign our JWT token, which will be checked by the interceptor on the server side. So this is all we have on our client side code. Let's have a look at the server side. On the server side, the request comes to our JWT interceptor and we do our validation check by getting the authentication token and calling the isValid request. If everything is fine, we forward the request to our PhoneCRUD controller. PhoneCRUD controller has our delete and save methods. Let's have a look at the save method. Save has our contact and the request. From the request, we get our user ID. Then we use our contact service implementation.create with our contact. Let's have a look how we persist the contact in the database. Contact service impl has our create method. It takes a contact. We use the same method to edit. Hence, initially we check if contact has an ID. If it doesn't have an ID, we are sure that it's a new request and we call our contacts repository.save. Our contacts repository extends JPA repository and JPA repository has a save method. Once we have saved the user, we return it to the controller, which sends it back to the UI. This way we get our new ID in a UI. The methods have @transactional, so the operations happen in a transaction. The delete operation takes an ID, calls contacts repository find one. If it is not null, we call the contact repository.delete. So that's how the operations happen on the server side. See you in the next lecture.